Hello. All right, so we're going to be working on hip internal rotation, but with a little bit more of an extension bias for your hips. And that's a really important movement that we need for a healthy hip. And having internal rotation, enough space for that is really critical to this. So to set up for this one, you're going to want to be leaning against a couch. You don't necessarily need the couch, but it really helps your body feel supported. If you didn't have the couch, you would just be leaning on your hand or even down onto your elbow. And you're looking to roughly create a straight line from your chest down through your hips into that working leg. So once you get into your leaned position, you're going to start sweeping your back leg back behind you until you notice a little bit of a stretch across the front of the hip, and maybe kind of diagonally diving from the hip across down to the medial part of the knee, the inner part of the knee. So once you get here, you're going to turn your pelvis square ahead, find that stretch, and then tuck your tailbone under to increase the tension on that line. And again, this is going to require some amount of hunting for your stretch. It's going to be different for each person, right? From here, you would begin the Pales Rails set by relaxing into a passive stretch for the time that we indicate. After you've made it through the passive stretch time, you then begin your Pales contraction. That Pales contraction would occur through pressing your back foot into the floor and then adding pressure through your back knee. And then feeling that those two spots are like you've super glued them to the ground, and you're now going to try to pull the floor forward, and that should add a little bit more tension to the mix on the front of your hip. Okay, I'm going to have Hannah relax for a second and just show you a couple variables to play with. The first one is if someone has a lot of internal rotation, like this person here, or maybe for you, you might want to bias a little bit more rotation, or we might ask you to do this. And you do that simply by propping up your back foot on a block or something that gives you some height under that foot. This way, you've added a little more rotation to your hip, and then you go through the same process of turning your belt buckle to face your front knee, curling that tailbone under to add tension to the stretch, and then holding that position to work through your passive stretch, your Pales, and your rails. I should probably tell everyone what the rails contraction would be, right? So the Pales, again, ankle and knee pushed down, try to drag the floor forward. The rails contraction would be the opposite, trying to increase the amount of internal rotation and also increase how much you're sweeping your leg back behind you. That should give you a contraction on the back side of your hip, the back side of your thigh, and maybe even down into the knee a bit, okay? And relax there. So you want to make sure you find your setup. The final piece that really happens when you've drilled this for a while and you're ready to increase the intensity is that you need a little bit stronger something to push your thigh against when you're training that extension piece. So we like to just bring a nice heavy kettlebell to place in front of your leg. If you have it, you might also be able to set up in a way where your thigh is pushing into some difficult to move furniture or a corner or a doorway, something like that, to really let your nervous system turn up the intensity. So again, start with the ankle pressure, add the knee pressure, find that stretch by starting to pull the floor forward with those points, and then increase the tension in that stretch tissue by really driving your leg against that kettlebell or immovable object. That's your Pales contraction. And then the rails contraction would be the same as before, trying to lighten the ankle and drive the thigh back behind you into more hip extension, and relax at the end of your set. All right, so a few pieces to work with there. Go ahead and check out the directions we give you in the workout in terms of how long to stretch, how long to Pales and rails, any setup cues, and how many total sets to do.
And also the effort percentage that we want you to ramp up to.
Yeah. All right. Have a blast. Let us know questions. See you soon.